coming to you from Jezero crater on the surface of Mars. This is Mr. C.
Well, happy downhill day to you, 7th graders, and a big shout out to you from the Mesa bunker. And I've just got so much to do today. How in the world am I ever going to get it all done? But in the meantime, I have one of my grandkids' favorite characters to come in, and I thought, Buzz wants to give you a little shout out, as he usually says, to infinity and beyond. And you think about that and go, it's a play on words, of course, and it's like, wait a minute, how can you go beyond infinity? That's the most you can do there mathematically. So it's funny, it's humorous. But anyway, we Christians, though, we're going to heaven forever. And that's kind of like to infinity and beyond. It'll never end. So a little devotional shout out to you from Buzz. You're all Buzz Lightyear fans, right? I'm a huge Buzz fan. He's really cool. You gotta love Buzz. Okay, moving right along, look at this. How am I going to get all this in today? How in the world am I going to get this on? Okay, I'll remind you first. You have a quiz on volcanoes on Friday. At 25 points, 25 points. I'm going to ask you the major things about volcanoes. Parts of volcanoes: magma chamber, vent or pipe, side vents, crater, lava flow. Magma, 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 magma. It's hard to say really fast. Lava, 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 lava. So I'm going to ask all of that, the kinds of volcanoes by shape: cinder cone, stratovolcano, or composite volcano. Then you have the Hawaiian island shield shape, so like that. And then a dome like Mount St Helens, like you're going to see today in today's video. We're going to see a video of Mount St Helens. Yeah, it's cool, but it's sad in a way, just because of the loss of animal life in the blast area. It was a blast in the blast area, and the loss of animal life and the loss of human life. So big dome of magma that couldn't move because it was pasty, gooey magma, and the pressure built up and built up and built up and built up, and then boom, it exploded out the weakest side, which was to the north. So anyway, kinds of volcanoes that way. Kinds of volcanoes by their activity. If it's erupting right now, active volcano. If it hasn't erupted recently but could, dormant volcano, right? And then if it hasn't erupted in a long time, that would be an extinct volcano. I wanted to show you this, if I can get it up. Let's see if I can get it up. Let's see, where do I have it? The Iceland volcano, and I want you to watch a little bit of the eruption if I still have it up. So I need to do this. You're very patient. Or are you? So I'm just going to type in and it looks kind of like this. The Iceland volcano is erupting like that right now. Huge lava fountains. And that's what you're getting. You can see it on your own if you go on YouTube and type in Iceland volcano, and there are some live websites, so you can see this. This is pretty liquidy lava that's coming out of that volcano. Pretty liquidy. But it's got a lot of gas in it too, so that's why it's shooting way up in the air. So anyway, Look on your own. You'll find it interesting. Let's see what else you're going to ask. I'm going to ask what comes out of a volcano. And I suppose I could have written this out, but I can teach it to you. I have an acronym for what the 4 major things that come out of a volcano. It's GALS. It's G-A-L-S. GALS. Like girls. GALS. G-A-L-S. G is for gas. Some volcanoes have almost no gas, a little bit of gas, moderate amount of gas, huge amount of gas. And when there's a huge amount of gas, it's very explosive because it shoves out whatever is on top of it, be it chunks of lava that cool in the air and fall down as almost like big rocks. So, or ash. Mount St. Helens had a tremendous amount of ash come out of it, and it just covered a wide area. And then also rocks come out, boulders even can be thrown out, so all of that. And then you can have steam, so G-A-L-S, gas, okay. And then you can also have, for the L, lava, of course, and then the S for steam. So you can have gas, ash, lava, and steam, GALS. I wanted to show you this. I've got a couple of mystery objects for you. Can you see this? It's kind of hard to see. Can you see that? Got little particles in here in this jar. Had this for a long time. What is this? This is lava that's been broken up into smaller bits by waves. Where did you get that, Mr. C? Where do you think I got this? Raise your hand if any of you have been to Maui. Raise your hand if while you were on Maui you drove the road to Hana. You know, 45,000 turns. Seems like it takes forever to get to Hana, heavenly Hana. So we've done it a number of times. I don't know how many times I've done it, probably half a dozen. So anyway, this is volcanic sand that was made by water action, wave action, and I got it on a black sand beach on Maui, on the road to Hana. So I've had this for a long time, many decades. So hands up if you've seen that black sand beach on the drive to Hana. Your hands up. Anybody? Anybody else? Okay. Then I've got another mystery object. I have owned this for 35 plus years. Have a look at it. Can you see it in there? In the jar, it'll pour. It's very fine powder. What is it? Where did it come from? Mr. C, is it volcanic ash? Yes. Where's it from? Mount St. Helens. Someone gave it to me. Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980. So someone gave it to me shortly after that. So early in my teaching career, really. So just a little beyond probably the first decade of teaching. And I've had it in my room for a long time. It's a little bit of Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens, because of the tremendous explosion, blew the material into little bitty bits. It blew the rock and ground that it came out of into just the finest of fine particles, ash. So anyway, illustrated there. So G for gas, A for ash, L for lava, and then S for steam. So I'll ask you about what comes out of a volcano. So GALS. Say it yourself. See if you can do all four. Can you get all four? GALS. Do it now. It'll match the TED Ed talk that we're going to talk about in a minute. See if you can say all four to yourself. Show Mr. Phillip on your fingers how many of those four you can say. GALS. On your fingers, how many you actually remember. Anyway, I'll ask on Friday's test. So, okay. Hey, the study guide, I apologize to you RLO students. It is up now. I hope you found it yesterday. So, we just had an issue at my daughter's house where we couldn't scan the pages of the study guide. So that's been done. It's up on Teams. So your first study guide, this is one of three, is 7th grade version up on Teams. I want to just review a teeny little bit. I may have gone over this, maybe not, but if you'll turn in your study guide to the verse section. Are you turning there? The Science Bible Memory Verses. Just to verify, these are the ones you have to know on your semester exam. Genesis 1:3, then God said, let there be light, and there was light, and nothing instantly commanded, the way God made everything, the recipe for creation. Genesis 1:26, then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. A wonderful gift from God that he shared a little bit of his likeness with us. Why would he do that? It just baffles me. He is just so compassionate and gracious. Wow. And then ways were like God and different from animals. Down below, I've got a boatload of them down below. How many do you think would be good to ask you on the test? They'll be half a point each. So I'm saying probably 6 of them, half a dozen. So study those babies, okay? Psalm 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God. Just all creation glorifies God, makes God look great. A synonym for glory is greatness. So the heavens declare the greatness, glory of God. And then John 1:3, of course, and that Jesus made everything. All things were made by him, and without him nothing was made that has been made. Okay, those are the Bible, the Science Bible Memory Verses. Then the smarts, and I'll end with this today. Dr. Howard Gardner's smarts theory. All the different smarts that we have, and usually one emphasis more than another. There they are. Word smart, art smart. I should have alphabetized them. Music, people, self, math, nature, God smart, and body smart. Okay? And then your superpower, that would be your smarts, and your GoTappy package, which would be part of your smarts. G for gifts, O for opportunities that God gives us, talents, abilities, physical appearance, purpose, and also personality, and then we're made in God's image. All of that is who God designed us to be, our superpower, I'm calling it. So anyway, triple R this as well. Okay, so if you'll triple R that, that would be great. How we doing? Good, 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 good. So, and then I wanted to spend just a little time on that TED Ed article. I love that TED Ed article. It gave you tips on how to practice anything, from practicing baking a cake to shooting a jump shot to doing a high jump. Little shout out to Mr. Phillip, track coach extraordinaire. Okay, he was telling me about a high jumper he had that just could jump up to the clouds. She was so good. So anyway, whatever it is that you're practicing, a language, learning a language, Japanese, French. So there are ways to practice properly. And if you practice properly, you will more quickly learn how to do things. And did you catch that? How our nerves get coated with a fatty substance called myelin. And it looks like the more we practice, the thicker that myelin sheath gets around our nerves. And it looks like then the message can travel more quickly to cause us to remember how to exactly do something, whatever it is. So anyway, that's a God thing. That's a divine design. Just that's the way we learn. That's the way God designed the nerve cells, the neurons in our brain to learn. So it is just so cool. So anyway, here are the tips right here. Can you see them? I wrote them down. There they are right there. No distractions. Turn your phone off. That's not good. Well, it is if you want to learn more quickly. All distractions, computer, phone, video games, focus on what you're trying to learn. Just focus. That's a key right there. No distractions. Take breaks in between as you're studying, like for the semester exams and all your classes. And visualize in your mind what it is that you've learned. Like if you're shooting a free throw, you can lay on your bed, close your eyes, and visualize your body shooting a free throw. And if you visualize it properly, you'll actually improve. Remember that study they showed? People who didn't actually do the practice, they just visualized the right way to practice. They made, it seemed, almost as much improvement as the people who actually practiced a skill. I find that's just fascinating, the way our brain works. So, no distractions, phone, video games, computer, whatever. Take breaks. The best professional whatever, at whatever they've learned, take breaks. And that seems to be a faster way to learn. And then the third thing, so distractions, breaks, visualize it in your mind, all the steps, and then practice correctly. If you practice the right way, then you'll learn it the right way. If you practice it the wrong way, you won't learn it the right way. So find out the right way to do it and then practice that. So those are 4 tips right there. No distractions. Take breaks. Visualize in your mind. I remember Olympic skiers. What kind of skiers were they? They're those slalom skiers that go through the gates. And I can remember them, being up at the start and they're not quite ready to go and they've got their eyes shut, it looks like, and they're doing this. And they're visualizing all the gates that they've got to go through. They're visualizing that slalom run. I just find that really neat, really cool. So anyway, I'll ask you about that on Friday for probably at least 2, I'd say. And there'll be half a point each of the best ways to practice or learn anything. No distractions, take breaks, visualize it, practice correctly. Okay? So anyway, hey, I checked the USGS website. No major earthquakes around right now. And then that reminds me also, I'll probably ask you on Friday, where would you expect volcanoes to occur? Most of them occur on plate. What do you call it where plates come together and there's a fault in between? What do you call that? A plate boundary, a PB. So most volcanoes occur at PBs or plate boundaries. Now, it could be under the ocean at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Iceland. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge goes right through Iceland. So there's a crack there and magma comes up right through there. So, or at subduction zones, particularly in the Ring of Fire. the ROF, ring of fire. So if I said to you, most volcanoes, what is it, 75%? Most volcanoes occur at plate boundaries. It could be a plate boundary under the ocean, like the mid-ocean ridge, or it could be a subduction zone where an ocean plate dives under a land plate, a continental plate. So that'll be on the test. I'll be asking you about that. Now, I want to properly prep you for Mount St. Helens. Okay, this is just a 1 minute, 10-second video. Mount St. Helens gradually bulged out about 1/4 of a mile over months and months and months. Once in a while, here were signals that it might erupt soon. Once in a while, there'd be a puff of ash that would be fired out of the crater. You could also tell because it was starting to bulge out. So that was a telltale sign. And another telltale sign were earthquakes underneath in the Mount St. Helens area, where there were seismographs set up. We're getting earthquakes. And moments before the big eruption, there was a 5-point earthquake. Now, that's a medium-sized earthquake, small to medium, but that's a big one for under a volcano. So that was evidence that magma was moving up, or that something had broke loose under Mount St. Helens, which is what happened. So what happened was that bulge ended up eventually cracking the rock, so the pressure from the magma chamber that was pushing up, pushing, boom! And it just, massive explosion. Biggest landslide ever in North America. And I've got to tell you, the video you're going to see is very violent. It shows the incredible force that this kind of volcano has. It's called a pyroclastic flow, and it's a massive ash flow of gas, ash, rocks, and the pyroclastic flow that was coming down the side of Mount St. Helens was going 300 miles an hour. So if you were hit with a boulder going that fast, I mean, you're toast. You're toast. Or if you were hit with that cloud of ash, you'd suffocate, or the poisonous gases inside. And then, to top all that off, horrific 660-degree Fahrenheit temperatures. I mean, it would just fry you immediately. So the 57 people that were killed by Mount St. Helens, they probably went to heaven very quickly if they were believers. Okay? There were so many, horrific fatality things about the eruption. So extreme heat, the power of the cloud of ash, it would just break trees that were several feet in diameter. It would just snap them. And you'll see this in the video. You'll get this impression. So watch that video. So tonight, study for your quiz on volcanoes. Everything about volcanoes, study it. And then, if you have time, study your study guide for what we've gone over so far. And then I'm going to have you ride on the Fury 325 in a little bit. And I think it goes about 94 or 5 miles an hour. And it's 325 feet up in the air. So anyway, it gets a 10 on the barf meter. So Fury 325. So there ain't no way I'd be going on it, because I'd be revealing my stomach contents, that's for sure. So anyway, the Fury 325. So a couple of videos, one on Mount St. Helens, one on Fury 325. Then Mr. Phillip will take over after that. If there's any time, he might give some of you a chance to work on your science activities in your journal. Remember, you're going to hand that in a week from today, actually, on the 19th. And what is due Friday? 10 SSRs if you haven't turned them in yet. Due on Friday. Okay, get all that in on time. Okay, so OTA, on-time assignments, baby. Get her done. Okay, Mr. Phillip. See y'all on Thursday.